Do you ever feel overwhelmed by an endless to-do list and a brain that just won't shut off? Welcome back to the Book Summaries channel, where today we are mastering the art of stress-free productivity. We're breaking down the Productivity Bible, Getting Things Done by David Allen. This book isn't just about doing more. It's about clearing your mind so you can focus on what truly matters. David Allen introduces the core problem of the modern age. Our stuff is overwhelming our psychic energy. He argues that our minds are designed for having ideas, not for holding them. When we keep reminders in our heads, it creates a constant state of low-level stress because the brain cannot distinguish between a task that needs to be done now and one that needs to be done in 6 months. This chapter establishes the concept of mind like water, a state of perfect readiness where you react appropriately to any situation. To achieve this, you need a trusted system outside of your head to track all your commitments. The GTD methodology is presented as a set of practices to manage the flow of work and life. Allen emphasizes that productivity is not about working harder, but about managing your focus. By externalizing your tasks, you free up your creative energy for higher-level thinking. This chapter sets the stage for a total transformation of how you relate to your responsibilities. It challenges the traditional view of time management and replaces it with attention management. This chapter outlines the fundamental GTD workflow, which consists of 5 distinct stages: capture, clarify, organize, reflect, and engage. Capturing involves gathering 100% of everything that has your attention into inboxes so it is out of your head. Clarifying is the process of deciding exactly what each item is and whether it requires action. If it does, you must define the very next physical action required to move it forward. Organizing means putting the results of your clarification into the appropriate categories and lists. Reflecting is the process of reviewing your system regularly to keep it functional and current. Finally, engaging is the actual execution of tasks based on your choices. Allen insists that you cannot do all 5 steps at once without losing efficiency. By separating these mental processes, you gain a massive increase in clarity and control. This systematic approach ensures that nothing falls through the cracks. It provides a roadmap for turning chaos into a structured and actionable plan. Allen explains that most people plan in a reactive, disorganized way, which he calls the unnatural planning model. Instead, he introduces the natural planning model, which mirrors how the brain naturally tackles any task, like going out to dinner. The 5 phases are defining purpose and principles, visioning the outcome, brainstorming, organizing, and identifying next actions. Purpose provides the criteria for decision-making and aligns your energy. Visioning creates a blueprint for success by imagining the final result as if it has already happened. Brainstorming allows for creative ideation without the constraints of immediate structure. Organizing then sorts those ideas into a logical sequence or hierarchy. The most critical step is identifying the next action, which prevents the project from becoming a stagnant weight on your mind. Most projects are actually just multi-step tasks that lack a clear next step. By applying this model, even the most complex projects become approachable and exciting. This chapter bridges the gap between high-level vision and ground-level execution. Success in GTD requires a physical environment that supports the system. Allen recommends setting up a dedicated workspace, even if it is just a corner of a room where you have all your tools at hand. You need basic supplies like folders, labels, pens, and a physical in tray. The author emphasizes the importance of a no-brainer filing system that allows you to store and retrieve information in seconds. If filing is difficult, you simply won't do it, and your desk will become a pile of clutter. You also need to block out a significant chunk of time, often 2 full days, to implement the system for the first time. This initial capture phase requires courage as you face everything you've been avoiding. Your physical space serves as a mirror for your mental space. Setting up the right infrastructure makes the process of clarifying and organizing frictionless. This chapter provides practical, tactile advice for building your productivity cockpit. It ensures you have no excuses for not managing your stuff effectively. The first step of the workflow is to gather every single piece of incomplete work into your trusted system. This includes physical items like mail and documents, as well as a psychic RAM, the ideas and worries floating in your brain. Alan suggests doing a mind sweep, writing down every single commitment, no matter how small. You must look at every drawer, every shelf, and every digital folder to find the things that have been draining your attention. The rule is that if it's not where it belongs and you haven't decided what to do with it, it must go in. You are not allowed to organize yet. You are just gathering. This process can be exhausting, but is incredibly liberating. It stops the nagging of the subconscious mind by promising it that everything will be dealt with soon. By the end of this stage, you should have a collection of everything that is not on path. This creates a closed loop that prevents mental leaks. It is the essential first step toward total clarity. Once everything is captured, you must process your inbox systematically from top to bottom. Alan provides a strict flowchart for clarifying. Is it actionable? If no, it goes to trash, someday/maybe, or reference. If yes, you must decide what the specific next action is. If the action takes less than 2 minutes, you do it immediately. If it takes longer, you either delegate it or defer it to your system. A key insight is that project is anything that requires more than one action step to complete. You don't do a project, you only do the next physical action associated with it. You must never put anything back into the inbox once you've looked at it. This discipline prevents the habit of reshuffling tasks without making progress. Clarifying is about making hard decisions now so you don't have to make them later when you're tired. It transforms vague burdens into discrete, manageable steps. This chapter turns the abstract concept of work into a series of visible physical actions. Organizing is about creating a place for everything so everything can be in its place. Alan identifies 7 primary categories of things you need to track: a project's list, project support material, calendar actions, next actions lists, a waiting for list, reference material, and a someday/maybe list. The next actions list should be organized by context, such as at phone, at computer, or at office. This allows you to see only what you can actually do in your current environment. The calendar should be sacred territory, reserved only for things that must happen at a specific time or on a specific day. Support material should be kept separate from action lists to avoid clutter. Someday/maybe is a vital list for dreams and ideas you aren't committed to yet but don't want to lose. Reference files are for things with no action but potential future value. This structural clarity allows you to navigate your day with ease. It ensures that when you have 10 minutes and a phone, you know exactly which calls to make. Proper organization eliminates the "what do I do now?" anxiety. The system only works if you trust it, and you only trust it if you review it. The weekly review is the master key to the GTD system. Once a week, you must empty your head again, process your new inbox items, review your projects, and look at your calendar for the coming weeks. This review allows you to get creative again because you've cleared the operational decks. Without the weekly review, your lists will become outdated and your brain will start taking back the job of remembering. Alan also discusses the different horizons of focus, from current actions to life purpose. Reflecting helps you ensure that your daily actions are aligned with your long-term goals. It is the time to be honest with yourself about what you are actually going to do and what you are letting go. This habit turns GTD from a one-time event into a lifestyle. It provides the necessary maintenance to keep the mind like water stay consistent. It is the time to move from being in your work to being on your work. The ultimate goal of GTD is to know what to do at any given moment and to feel good about what you are not doing. Alan offers 3 models for making action choices. The first is the 4 criteria model: context, time available, energy available, and priority. This helps you filter your lists based on your current reality. The second is the 3-fold model for identifying daily work, which includes doing predefined work, doing work as it shows up, and defining the work. The third model is the 6 horizons of focus, ranging from ground-level actions to the 50,000-foot view of life purpose. By aligning these levels, you ensure your tasks have meaning. GTD doesn't tell you which task is better, but it gives you the clarity to make that choice consciously. When your system is current, you can trust your intuition to pick the right task. Engaging is about being fully present in the current activity without mental distraction. It is the culmination of the capture, clarify, and organize process. This chapter focuses on the doing part of productivity with total confidence. In this chapter, Alan dives deeper into the practical application of project planning. He emphasizes that if a project is on your mind, it hasn't been planned enough. You don't need elaborate software. A simple brainstorming session or a mind map is often sufficient. The key is to get all the ideas out of your head and onto paper where you can see patterns and priorities. He reiterates that the next action is the most important part of any plan. If you don't know the next physical step, the project will remain a source of stress. He also discusses support materials and how to keep them accessible but out of the way of your active tasks. Effective planning doesn't have to be a formal process. It can happen in the elevator or during a commute. The goal is to gain enough clarity so that you no longer need to think about the project until it's time to act. This proactive approach prevents emergency planning later on. It turns daunting goals into a series of simple, attractive steps. Alan explores the profound psychological benefits of capturing everything. When you write something down, you are essentially telling your subconscious that you will handle it. This stops the brain from constantly looping the task in your awareness. People often underestimate how much open loops drain their energy and creativity. The capture habit builds self-trust because you are no longer breaking promises to yourself by forgetting things. It allows you to be more present with your family and more focused at work. Alan notes that many creative people resist capturing because they fear it will stifle their spontaneity, but the opposite is true. By capturing the mundane, you create space for truly innovative thoughts. This habit is the foundation of mental health in a high-demand world. It creates a sense of relaxed control that is contagious to those around you. The more you capture, the more you realize how much potential you've been wasting on mere remembering. It is a fundamental shift in how you inhabit your own mind. Defining the next action is perhaps the most powerful tool in the GTD toolkit. It forces you to translate abstract goals into concrete physical reality. Alan points out that most people's to-do lists are full of vague items like research vacation or plan meeting, which are not actions. A real next action is something like search Google for Hawaii resorts or email Bob about the agenda. By making this decision up front, you eliminate the friction of starting. It overcomes procrastination because the next step is always small and easy. This practice changes the culture of organizations by making meetings more productive and accountability clearer. It moves people from a state of complaining to a state of doing. The next action decision is a surgical strike on ambiguity. It clarifies exactly what is required to move a situation forward. When you master this, you become a person who gets things done effortlessly. It is a deceptively simple habit with life-changing consequences. This final chapter highlights the transformative power of keeping the end in mind. Outcome focusing is the practice of defining what success looks like for any given task or project. When you have a clear picture of the finish line, your brain naturally finds ways to get there. It creates a positive tension between where you are and where you want to be. This focus aligns your subconscious resources with your conscious goals. Allen argues that focusing on the outcome, combined with the next action decision, is the master key to high performance. It allows you to navigate obstacles because you know your destination. This approach applies to every level of life, from fixing a leaky faucet to defining your life's legacy. It turns you into a conscious creator rather than a victim of circumstance. The book ends with a reminder that GTD is a lifelong practice that gets better over time. It is a path toward total engagement and a meaningful, productive life. By mastering these techniques, you truly can get everything done.